Hey, it's State of State. We got your Nittany Line update. It's a football discussion with Tom and Justin, so kick back and press play.
With former Penn State and NFL defensive back Justin King, I'm Tom Hannafin. This is State of State. Please like, comment, subscribe, rate us, and turn on notifications. Follow us on social media at State of State Pod. Comment on our YouTube channel. And if you haven't done so already, you can become a member of our YouTube channel. For just 99 cents a month, you can get all upcoming episodes of State of State, plus our entire members-only playlist, ad-free, commercial-free. Hit the join button on our homepage or follow the link in the description of this podcast. State of State is presented by BetOnline. BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with constant real-time odds in action and the ability to watch the games as they happen, with the largest selection of odds on everything from football to the NBA, college basketball, the NHL, and even UFC. Head to betonline.ag today and don't forget to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. State of State is presented by BetOnline. The game starts here. So, Justin, the night before the college football playoff, we learned that Penn State has landed another target in the transfer portal. This one is a defensive end / edge player from Texas A&M, Enai White, a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania kid out of Emotep. I know you think very highly of that high school, and you've seen a lot of products come out of that high school. This is an interesting case study. He has 3 years of eligibility remaining, played a good amount in 22 and 23 for the Aggies, did not see the field much this year, was coming off an injury in 2024, and only has 2 career sacks to his name and less than 50 total snaps that he has played as a Texas A&M Aggie. So it feels like something that's potentially a depth addition for Penn State's defensive end room. So let's start with your initial feelings about Enai White.
I think it's a prime position to get out of the transfer portal, so I think that's a W. Again, you got good roots coming from Emotep, athletic pass rusher, and just adding depth to that room. I think is critical. I think he could be a game changer, game type of, let's say an impact player, right? He has 3 years to kind of figure some things out. And I think it's a good pickup, good transfer portal pickup in this current day.
6'5", 240 pounds, great size, great frame. Could probably add to that frame. Very curious to see what he would be. This is such an interesting subject because you see Penn State go and get Kyron Hudson, the wide receiver from USC, early in the transfer portal cycle to address that position of need. I believe defensive end is going to be a position of need in 2025, so this makes sense. However, I find it so interesting that Penn State has a better track record with transfer portal defensive ends and edge rushers than they do at wide receiver thus far. Looking at Chop Robinson, looking at Arnold Ebiketie is great examples of the success that Deion Barnes and this defensive line have had recently, and not Deion's entire time, obviously, but still the success of this defense and the success of Penn State as a whole to recruit that position. Why do you think they've had so many consistent hits at that position, and why do you feel like White could be the next one in line?
I mean, when you talk about development, right? You got development, you have a history of success at that position. And then when you have a defense where you have players that all kind of work together, it's, you have successes around when you are playing with good players. And like you said, and when you're being developed by good players. And we talk about just that position being, again, we talk about genetics and traits. Like that's a freaky, like body composition type of position, right? We talk about 6'5", 240, and we got one of the best strength and conditioning or strength performance, and I'll say performance enhancing player performance departments in the country at Penn State, from just like when you look at the physical traits that they produce at the combine. So when you have that mixed with the actual skill development and the coaching and the culture, you produce first round draft picks.
Remains to be seen. Looking at Penn State's defensive ends as it stands right now, Abdul Carter's listed as a junior. Amin Vanover, a senior. Malachi Williams is a freshman that they're very excited about, also out of Philadelphia, 6'3", 243 pounds. Denai Dennis Sutton is listed as a junior. Zariah Fisher got injured coming into this season, redshirt senior plus. Mason Robinson, redshirt freshman. Jalen Harvey, who we saw a little bit of earlier on this season, sustained an injury. He's a true freshman out of Maryland, 6'2", 250. Smith Vilbert, redshirt senior plus. Bobby Mears, redshirt freshman. Jordan Meyer, redshirt freshman. Max Granville, freshman. Aiden Probst, freshman. So you've got a lot of youth here. Granville, I know they're excited about. It's kind of a wait and see. It feels like I don't know what your feeling is in terms of. I think people are going to look at Carter and Vanover, especially to see if those guys are bouncing, and Denai Dennis Sutton as well. Could all three of those guys go into this year's NFL draft? I don't know if you necessarily have the answers to that, but projecting ahead to 25, do you feel like Penn State is going to have new starters potentially at both defensive end spots? Maybe just one?
I mean, possibly, definitely. I think one for sure. But I mean, I don't know besides a hunch besides that, but that's it. We'll see. But I mean, again, they've been reloading for the past 10 years, so I would expect them to find some more players, and that's even when they lose guys, unfortunately, off the team, and it's still guys stepping up. So they're reloading at that position. So I'm expecting the same this year.
When you see that many freshmen at the defensive end spot, what does that make you think about in terms of, is that the evaluation? Does that give you pause of like lack of experience or anything? Or is it just kind of like, hey, they, Penn
like
State
I
must
said,
be high
when you have some guys that don't work out or they have to leave, that's like your depth, and you have to kind of work through that. And if you don't land anybody through the transfer portal that's a little older, you have to give time for the younger guys to grow. And I think that's what we're just in the midst of right now.
So Enai White added in the transfer portal while this window is still open. Bear Alexander, I believe, saw committed to Oregon, and he just continues on his path of Georgia, USC, Oregon, going to big-time programs and hopefully get himself a whole bunch of money. So that kind of took care of itself. We'll see if Penn State is able to address the defensive tackle spot, because that feels like another spot. That defensive line, it does feel like you could see a good amount of turnover next year, and there's the positivity. It's so funny. There's the positivity on the offensive side of the ball, Justin, we talked about, of the potential returning players outside of, like, we know Drew Hour's coming back, but then it's kind of a question mark in terms of some other positions. Running back, offensive line, you got to see what happens there. What is wide receiver going to be? But then defense, you're kind of curious, because the front four of this defense is arguably its strongest unit. So if there's a good amount of turnover there, that's always a challenge to recover from.
True. I mean, I think that's going to be a critical piece just moving forward through the rest of the playoffs, making sure that those guys, one, stay healthy and are able to produce late in the games.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to State of State. Penn State lands defensive end/edge Anai White from Texas A&M in the transfer portal. The portal window is going to be open for a little while longer here this month, so we're going to keep an eye and see if Penn State has any other positions of need that they address this holiday season. Thank you all so much for joining us. This episode and our entire library of shows is available now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Please like, comment, subscribe, rate us, and turn on notifications. Follow us on social media at State of State Pod. Comment on our YouTube channel. And if you haven't done so already, you can become a member of our YouTube channel. For just 99 cents a month, you can get all upcoming episodes of State of State, plus our entire members-only playlist, ad-free, commercial-free. Hit the join button on our homepage or follow the link in the description of this podcast. State of State is presented by Bet Online and by Blue White Outfitters.